Morning all, how are we all doing? Is my mic working okay? I've just realised I haven't plugged the camera mic in, so I'm using my old mic. Hopefully the volume is all right. Trying to record a video, and I wanted to use this mic because it's clearer, but I'm running late this morning. So morning David, morning Stevie, morning Thimba, morning Bartek, morning Megatron, morning Wacky, morning Berlingo, morning Tom, morning Kennelly, morning Megatron again. Oh yeah, yes, all good, cool. Excellent. Sound is good, thank you Diamond, morning. DJ Lee in the studio, about to drop the album. Yeah. Not quite sure what the album is, but yeah. Morning Brian. Right. What the hell's going on? Sorry, I'm not with it this morning. I've had one of those mornings. Morning Tokyo. I've had one of those mornings trying to deal with people in Telegram. Sorry, trying to deal with Telegram with people that don't speak English is just impossible. Just takes about 7 years of my life to answer one simple question, and the answer is always no. Anyway. Right. Morning, Virginia. It's Monday. It is Monday. New month, new week, new quarter. So, back to square one. $1,500 banked this month. Very nice. So, yeah, back to square one. First day of the month. The news, let's cover news first of all. Morning, Danny. US dollar Swiss, we'll have a look at that in a minute. So, news. Weekend news. We've had a bit of Japanese news overnight. Nothing particularly exciting. With OPEC's surprise output reduction, US oil surges 6%. Right. So it does. Gap up on oil. Hey, look where the gap went. Straight into my resistance. That's good. So we got a gap on oil, which will probably get filled today. My God, no, it's not going to get filled today. That's 175% of ADR. 200% of ADR, pretty much. Tricky. I was looking for a pullback entry on oil. I'm not going to get that now, am I? That's basically hit target. Remember my target, $80 a barrel? Where are we now? $80 a barrel. Just gone without me. Never mind. Yeah. Nothing I can do with that one. I have to wait and see what happens. But morning, Miura. So yeah, that was the oil news. Norwegian kroner leads commodity FX higher. Russia will extend pledged oil cuts. OPEC oil cuts are not recommended at this time. There's a lot of oil news over the weekend, basically. We had loads of news about inflation and all sorts of other stuff as well. But so yeah, so oil was the news over the weekend. So a quick overview of this week. Swiss franc CPI this morning. Shut up, phone. Swiss franc CPI this morning. It's going to be one of those days today. So we had that at 7:30. We'll have a look at the Swissy in a minute. We've got OPEC meetings all day today. So we could have a lot more noise about oil coming out today. There's going to be a lot of talk about that over the course of the day, I'd imagine. We've got PMIs this afternoon for the US dollar at 3 o'clock. We've got some interest rates this week. We've got the Australasian interest rates this week. So we've got the Aussie tomorrow morning. Then we've got obviously the rate statement along with that. We've got job openings tomorrow afternoon for the US dollar. Then we're followed by the New Zealand rates on Wednesday morning and obviously the statement. And then we've got press conference after that as well. Non-farm employment on Wednesday at 1:15, followed by the PMI for the services. So the PMIs for manufacturing today and services on Wednesday. Unemployment for the CAD and unemployment for the US on Thursday. And then Friday is non-farm payroll. I'm not here Friday. It's a bank holiday in UK. So I'm not here Friday. I'm not here Monday. It's a bank holiday weekend. It's Easter. So I won't be here for non-farm payroll. I shall be monitoring the charts, obviously, because I'll have positions open. Just because it's a bank holiday doesn't mean I'm not going to have positions open. But yeah, so I won't be here on Friday. But so that's the week ahead. So we've got two big interest rates. We've got loads of unemployment. We've got PMI. So every day this week, there's something very big happening with at least one instrument. So lots of things going on this week to watch out for. DAX opens in 2 minutes. I'm in two minds as to whether or not to play a short on this. Oil. I'm going to go short on oil. On the prop account. Lot size 18.74. You sure? If you say so. All right, fine. Let you have it. So literally, oil gap fill play. Either work or it won't. Risk reward is good. So I'm taking an oil short. Right. So there's the news. That's what we've got coming up this week. US dollar Swiss. You want to have a quick look at US dollar Swiss? Nothing at the moment. So Swiss franc, we've got any ADRs, have we? Yeah, there's no ADRs. So Swiss franc, basically, we obviously had the news this morning. What was the news? It was negative on the inflation figures. So their inflation's coming down. Well, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? So looking at the fundamentals for the Swiss, they have this pretty much the smallest, well, they do have the smallest interest rate out there by Japan. They put their interest rates up by 0.5%. Inflation change, obviously their inflation is second lowest along with Japan as well. And that's coming down. So well done, Swissies, which will take pressure off of their interest rate rises. So potentially negative Swiss. So I would say US dollar Swiss is along at the moment, but I wouldn't want to be taking it from there. It's kind of a range bound play at the moment, isn't it? If you look, so there's our low. We're basically stuck in a range. So I'll be looking for shorts potentially up there, back down into there, and then maybe a breakout. Right now, it's not anywhere I'm interested. Morning, it's time. Morning, Rob. Morning, PM. Morning, Steve. Gap and go. Yep, could be a gap and go on oil. It's, you know, as I say in here, one of two things is going to happen. It's going to go up or it's going to go down over the next X number of bars. I don't know which way it's going to go. So it's either going to be a gap and go or it's going to be a gap fill. If it's a gap and go, I will get stopped out. If it's a gap fill, I will make $700. There you go. The odds are 50-50. We'll see what happens. DAX is open. There's your pre-market 15. If you're trading that, which I've fallen out of love with, so I'm not trading any pre-market 15s anymore. 5 minute is a very big weeky candle so far. We've got a very, very, very small gap fill opportunity on the DAX, not really a gap fill at all. And we have got these big old gaps to fill down here, look. So at the moment, we've pushed up, gapped. So we gapped, pushed, gapped, pushed. This is a gap and go. As Brian's just said, this is a gap and go. So this is what's going to happen on oil potentially today, or we're going to get the other version of the gap, which is the gap and fill. One of them is going to happen. So yeah, so that's pushed up very hard. We've got these two big gaps left in the DAX, and this is a well, it's basically 200 ADR move to the downside to fill this gap. So it's a long way to go. It's not something that's going to fill today, but it's something that I'm playing potentially short. So however, obviously we are very, very strong today. So we'll see what goes on. We've had 3 up days on the trot. So if you look at this on the daily, on the DAX, remember my little 3 days. Things tend to move in 3-day cycles with the indices a lot of the time. So you get like a big 3-day push, then a pullback. And then you get a 3-day push and a pullback. A 3-day push and a pullback. Yeah. This is a 3-day push. So potentially we may be getting a pullback today, but we'll see. We've got this big old gap here as we took this breakout, and we're coming up into resistance. So there's 2 plays today I see running here. That double top, or somewhere around there, finding some limit orders and driving the market up into there and then pushing it back down again for a down day. Or we're just going to drop down, put a pullback leg in, and then a continuation up to try and break that high. So market structure at the moment obviously is playing that way, but they're so close to it, they may well go for it today. So we'll see what happens. One of the two. But obviously then we've got these big old gaps to fill. So that's a long way down to come back down to this one. So I'm not sure about that one personally, but we will see. You can see the gap there very clearly on the hourly chart. So it's quite a fair old drop. We've been embedded on the RSI for days, basically now. So I've got a short on the Dow at the moment running on the Fidelcrest account. So I'm looking basically, easy, just a nice little drop today, anywhere within ADR, and I'm back to break even on this. So we'll see what happens with that one. But yeah, difficult, very, very, very strong, these indices at the moment. DAX seems gappy. It is gappy. So there's your 5-minute going in, 17 seconds left on this candle. There's your 5-minute. There's the gap fill done. So yeah, where do we go from here? So run on the highs, that's yesterday's high from Friday. So we've either got run on the highs going, or we're going to come out and we're going to just go for it. If we get a downward move today, I think it might be quite a strong one. I think we might get some US dollar strength as well today off the oil, and Canadian as well. It's not particularly pushing, is it, the CAD at the moment? See, that's gapped as well. So there's your 5-minute opening range on the DAX. So we'll see where we go from there. Morning, George from Sydney. Afternoon, even. Morning, afternoon, good evening, good night. Everybody's in different time zones. Right, so let's have a quick look at analysis. So top buys and sells are pretty much the same from the buyer scorecard. Nothing is massively strong. Nothing is anywhere near sort of a 10 at least at the moment. So there's nothing really to look at from that perspective. It's all pretty much as it was Friday and as it has been for weeks. Yeah, everything is suffering on inflation, interest rates, etc., unemployment. Everything basically is going the same way. So everything is pushing with a similar sort of strength. There is no massive advantage on any currency pair at the moment. The yen is the only thing that you're going to get a safe haven run on that is really going to happen if we get any more banking issues. So the yen's basically, I would be actually looking to short, not long, personally, because we've got the sort of cloud hanging over us of any moment of another bank going pop, although that seems to have really quietened down now. So everything's short against the US dollar, which is the normal stuff. So there's nothing particularly exciting to look at there. Sentiment today, Aussie US and New Zealand US are both good looking shorts. Euro odd and Euro yen are the strongest buys, and Euro New Zealand from a retail sentiment perspective. Somebody mentioned the other day, or yesterday, I think it was, in the Telegram group, the yens, they're all shorting at the moment, everything against the yen. Yeah, so it looks like you want to be buying everything against the yen at the moment from a retail sentiment perspective as well. So if you look at the yen pairs, I've got sales on at the minute on those. Opening range breakout is to the downside. Wow. I wouldn't quite call that a breakout, would you? It's probably triggered your order. In fact, it hasn't triggered my order yet. My order trigger, there you go. I should be in now. Yeah, I'm in now. Right, I'm short on the DAX. Just about triggered it there. Brilliant, and now it's immediately pulled back. Anyway, so yeah, so Swissies, all the yens rather. If you look at the sentiment on those, yeah, everything against the yen is a buy, pretty much at the moment. So that is because retail basically are shorting everything, and the reason they're shorting it is because we've had a big strong push, so they're trying to catch the top, and they will keep taking that liquidity all the time they're doing that. So, well, that's a quick stop out this morning. Jeez, look at that. Look at the wicks. I'm not stopped out on it yet. My stop's up there, but that's going to stop out. That looks like a long today, doesn't it? That's not good for my Dow position. $540. Brian, got the 2-for-1 on Fidelcrest. Mine is only showing Forex. Does yours have indices and commodities? In Fidelcrest, yeah, it's got everything. If you go into the symbols, you've got loads in there. You've got all the Forex pairs, all the indices, crypto, gold, and there's loads of stocks in there as well. Tony, Financial Juice has red news for Germany today. Is it important as Forex Factory doesn't have it? Yeah, those are the PMIs. Up to you on those, really. I mean, PMIs are important, but the trouble with these ones here, basically, is it's segmented, because obviously this is just the French, this is just the German. The overall European one is the most important one, because that's the whole of the Eurozone. These are the two main contributors, which is why they're separated out. But you've got the Italian there as well, look, and the Swiss. Well, the Swiss, obviously, we know about. You've got Turkish in there. Oh, that's CPI rather than PMI. But yeah, I mean, it could move. It could move. I don't. You just need to see what happens. But if you want to pay attention to it, because I've noticed there's quite a big difference with some of these news events in Financial Juice, as opposed to Forex Factory. So all the other calendars, like Forex Factory, all the other ones you'll find all over the web, will be very similar to Forex Factory. They're only focused on the main biggies, yeah, the real big important ones, whereas other places concentrate on smaller ones, which will move the market. But these you're not going to get a 300 ADR move on these. Everything read in Forex Factory has got the potential to shift the market fundamentally and change direction. These haven't. These will move the market potentially, but not massively. So you need to be aware of them. Stopped out on the DAX long, and I am now long. Yeah. And it's wicking. It's just a whipsaw at the moment. No direction. ADR, Aussie New Zealand. I've just closed an Aussie New Zealand actually this morning on Fidelcrest. Just shut this one out this morning from Friday in the gap, and we're going for the next gap by the looks of things. So that's your first ADR of the day, which brings me nicely onto the ADRs. So yeah, ADR, nice hit to the upside. We've got that tiny little gap above to go for, which should potentially get hit as well. There's no real targets to the downside on this. Aussie New Zealand is a tricky one at the moment. As you can see, obviously we push down. We've got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is day 7 of a range. We came off the lows down there. So yeah, I mean, basically pushing up and then shorting it back into this range. We've got these targets to the upside as well. So if you take an ADR reversal here, or whenever you get the 5-minute reversal alert, which is where is it today? How close? Yeah, it's fairly close. Look, you got that lovely big target down there as well. That might actually be filled, but you got these down here, which are 23 pips away, which is over a quarter of an ADR, nearly half an ADR move to the downside. So if you take that one and it doesn't work out, scale in on a second in these propulsion gaps and wait for the push back down, because that'll be at those top of those highs. By the time we get up there, we'll be extended on the hourly, ready to come down. So short on ADR if you get one. If it pushes up, you got this high as well, you're likely to find limit orders triggering off of that high from Thursday as well. But obviously that's where I would expect us to get to next. So yeah, looks like a pretty good ADR reversal. Apart from that, there's nothing else today. So there's no other ADRs today. We've had a fair bit of news over the weekend, but it's all been oil related. So it's difficult to know what that's going to affect today, because there's a lot of countries involved in oil. So we may well get quite a few ADR hits today across the board. The CAD would be the one I would probably look at the most. I've just taken a drawdown control on the CAD Swiss. So that's pushing up this morning. Aussie CAD's probably come down. It's gapped down. That's the other Euro CAD. Yeah, the Canadian dollar doesn't seem particularly strong this morning at all. No. So there's not a massive amount of strength in that CAD at the minute, which is interesting. Morning, Amar. Dances, just want to say thanks for all the fundamental data. No problem. Once I've set it up, though, this is all on autopilot. So now it's set up, I don't really have to do anything with it. I do once a week. On a Saturday, I have to do the historical data for COT, because I haven't automated that bit yet. That's just because I'm lazy. And it takes literally 5 minutes to run a quick calculation in Excel to do historical COT reporting. But everything else is fully automated now anyway, so I don't have to worry about it. Which, yeah, talking about COT. Speaking of COT, we had some changes. So COT, we had a few changes over the weekend. Nothing dramatic. But the yen, these shorts on the yen, they are massively, massively short on the yen still. And the Swiss franc as well. They've got a little bit shorter. The Canadian dollar, they've got a little bit shorter. Obviously, that was before the oil news. So there's 3 big shorts there at the moment, and obviously we're pretty long on the US dollar. So there's a lot of stuff at the moment, which if you look at the buyer scorecard, we are all +4s or -4s or zeros basically on COT at the moment. So this column here, which is the commitment of traders, everything is either a massive plus or it's a minus or it's completely neutral. So this is what I've excuse me, this is what I was saying on Friday about, you know, the vast majority of stuff at the moment is either range bound or it's ever so slightly a strong a buy or a sell. There's nothing massively strong out there at the moment, mainly because we've got so much COT bias where we've got, you know, both currencies are long on it or both currencies are short. So there's no reason anything's going to squeeze at the minute. shouldn't be any reason anything's going to squeeze at the moment, apart from a safe haven rush like we saw with the yen, with the Swiss franc, etc., when the banks are having trouble. So everything is very much being driven by retail sentiment at the moment. So obviously we're getting a lot of that movement as retail's flipping long and short. The market's just undulating, basically. And as I said, we had this conversation last week. The reason the market goes against retail isn't necessarily because the market is hunting that retail liquidity. This is only around about 6 to 10% or 5 to 10% of the market is actually retail money or small money, not institutional money. The reason it's going against that is because retail just get it wrong all the time, because they're picking the wrong signal. When they see something going up, they start to go the opposite direction. So obviously it pushes further and further against them. So it's not necessarily hunting their liquidity. It's just the fact that you can use this as a gauge and a barometer to tell you which way the market is more likely to go next, because it's the opposite to what they do. Because they're wrong all the time, aren't they? We're all stupid. Morning, CACV. I've had an ADR reversal long trade this morning on pound US dollar. We haven't had an ADR on pound US dollar this morning. Pound US dollar is absolutely nowhere near ADR. You mean RSI? You mean RSI? Yes, there's an RSI long during Asia. Yeah, not ADR. So I got a frog in my throat again this morning. I shall get him out. It is just retail people are stupid. Yes. We're all stupid. True. Yeah, so I'm long pound US dollar. Out of RSI. Although that's... I'm not sure I want to be long against the US dollar on non-farm payroll week, but hopefully we'll be out of that soon. So it's pushing up at the moment into propulsion. There's no other upside targets on this at the moment, and we've just broken that low. So I'll be looking for a pullback drop potentially on this, but we'll see how it plays out. So they are your ADRs. Obviously, there's nothing on the weekly because it's the first day of the week, and there's nothing on the monthly because it's the first trading day of the month. So everything else is flat. We will wait and see. RSIs, we've got a few of those to look at. Let's just see what the DAX is doing. So there's your 15-minute opening range on the DAX. I'm long at the moment with one stop out. Sorry, one sec. Okay. Right, so let's look at these RSIs. So Aussie dollar CAD. Nice extended off of RSI on the hourly last week. I've done a scale out on this. So I got into it here basically. It's long. And we literally just went sideways for 3 days and then dropped on Friday. And obviously we gapped down because of the Canadian dollar, because of oil. So pushing up virtually back to break even on it at the moment. So on the 4 hour, this is a nice extension. Yeah, so whoops, extended on the... Hello? There we go. Extended on the 4 hour. We did get extended just about on the 4 hour there. We got extended just about on the 4 hours. See that one there? That was an exit. That was an hourly entry anyway. But yeah, very nicely extended at the minute. Looking for a pullback up into probably this area here, which is likely going to be where we would find some resistance. So potentially if we're going to continue market structure down on this one, it's going to be that sort of movement. We are in a downtrend on this at the minute, but ever so slight. You know, this is exactly the sort of thing I'm talking about with the bias scorecard here. Even if we've got something in a trend, the trends are very, you know, up, down. Market structure is beautiful at the minute. So there's no reason why this should collapse against the Canadian, or, you know, there's no reason there's massive strength in any direction on this at the minute. Bias scorecard on it, If you look at the Aussie CAD, where's it gone? Is range bound +1. Yeah. And that is also with -2 on retail. So retail are all longing it at the moment, saying that we should short it. So if retail go the opposite direction, that flips to a plus, potentially a plus 3. So we would add 4 onto, no, sorry, maths. -2 becomes a +3. So we could go to a +5 on that, which would take you into long. So at the moment, it's basically range bound. So I'm long at the minute on that one. Just looking for a push back up. There's no targets. Very, very, very efficiently traded all the way down. So on the 4-hour chart, we've not really got any propulsion gaps apart from this one up here. And then we've got that whacking great one at the top there. So yeah, like that as long. I'm already in it. The CAD yen on the 4-hour. So that's pushing up very, very, very hard. We're nicely embedded at the moment on the RSI up there. Yeah, so we got embedded there and we've continued to push up, nicely embedded sideways, up at the 72 moving average. So if we're going to continue the trend on this and continue going to the downside, we did make a new low there. And there's obviously our most recent high. So there's your current structure. If we're going to continue that, this is exactly where you want to be getting in short. However, we've got all these whacking great targets above at the moment on the CAD yen, all yens basically. So I like it as a short at the moment, just because it's nicely extended, but this is quite a parabolic move, which is an undoing of the previous safe haven runs. So it will run out of steam at some point. We've got these areas at the top here. So if we get up to there, we'll definitely be having a nice drop from that because we'll be massively extended by the time we get there, if we get there. But more likely, we're just going to get, you know, a big strong down move start at some point. It's just a case of waiting at the minute for some kind of strength to come through on that yen. So that's extended, but it's only just extended. We were more extended on that last week, but still good looking short opportunity. So drop down M15 or M5, wait for those reversal alerts, jump in. We've got a gap fill as well to do on this. So it's definitely a nice short opportunity. Euro CAD, 4-hour extended. So that's extended to the downside. Long on that already. We've got a gap fill as well on there. All these Canadians are going to have gap fills today. So obviously, as you can see, it's constantly green. We're constantly bullish on this one. We've had a weak Canadian dollar based off the back of that we've had weak oil pricing, and obviously a lot of that is to do with Canada. That's how they make a lot of their money. So at the moment, if that oil price is going to continue to grind up, there is a chance that this will actually now start to strengthen up. But the euro is also still very, very strong at the moment. So again, as you can see, everything's moving very, very nicely. We're up, down all the time. So it doesn't really matter which way you get in at the moment on it. It is a long bias, much more of a long bias than a short bias. And you've got a 4-hour RSI extension to the downside. So perfect entry. We're down below the 24 in the 72 zone. So this is, again, where we quite often get nice bounces from in the 24.72 area. Go back. Yeah, so this zone between the 24.72, when we pull back to the 24, anywhere in here, typically is nice for continuations. Yeah, and then we push up, come back, push up, come back. Every time we come back to it, we get a nice bounce out of it. And that's exactly where we are now. So good looking opportunity for longs on Euro US dollar, already in it at the moment. Sorry, Euro CAD. That's an hourly RSI extension as well. Yeah, that was extended, well extended, almost down to 90 on that, look, 15. So gap fill. We've got a propulsion gap target on that break, and we've got a big one up there as well, potentially. So you could have quite a long hold all the way up to there. I'll be targeting about 50 on this. So yeah, I mean, I'll be out pretty much on the gap fill at yesterday's low. So that's Euro CAD. Euro US dollar is extending on the hourly. So Nice hourly buy, already in it. M5, whoops, reverse alert this morning. Was we had one down there. When did I get into this then? There. So we had a reverse alert there. So I got in there. We pushed down in Asia, took that low out. Second reverse alert was there. Pushing back up somewhere up there. So yeah, fairly weak US dollar this morning. Not particularly weak, but yeah, so it's a bit of strength in the euro this morning. So euro US dollar, so you've missed that one. 15-minute, you've missed it. It's gone. It's already off. Pound CAD. So this is a 4-hour and a 1-hour extension. So nice extended on the hourly. Yeah, so entry was there. Big, strong push. God, look at the state of this. In and out of this for a while. So yeah, looking for a gap fill. And obviously you got that propulsion gap there, which actually this propulsion gap, so this is an interesting point. This propulsion gap is actually filled if you look at it. Yeah, this one here. Sorry, not this one. This one here is filled. Yeah, so we pushed down to there on Friday and then we gapped down. So we've gone through that completely. So that should be gone. Obviously, because of the gap, it doesn't disappear because the indicator, the wide range bar indicator doesn't take gaps into account. So that is gone basically. And you've pushed straight back down into this propulsion gap. Yeah, which is where we've bounced out of. That's where I exited all those shorts. So the pound CAD, just while we're talking about this, so this is a really good example of the aggressive drawdown control. So we were talking about, you know, getting caught the wrong side, and when I did that aggressive drawdown control position, so that was my initial entry there, yeah. And then we got that massive strong push to the upside. So entered again, yeah. Then we pushed up, entered again. And then as we started to roll over, that was the aggressive drawdown control position that I did, remember, in the live room Friday before last. And then I got out of that aggressive drawdown control position on the following Thursday, scaled out of some of that, which brought the average up to a point where we can easily get out of the position. And now we're out. Yeah. So again, just using these propulsion gaps as where are we going next? Well, there's a propulsion gap target to the downside after this move, and that's exactly where we've gone to. So just having that knowledge that these propulsion gaps are in place and that's likely where the price is going to be going just helps you decide when you're going to do these aggressive drawdown control positions. Where do I need to get my average to? Obviously, you want to try and get it within ADR all the time, but if you can get it above a big propulsion gap, that also gives you a really easy out when it gets to that propulsion gap. So yeah, pound CAD, bit of a mess, that one. I would say overall it's probably a break even or a slight loss. What did I bank on it? This morning, 678 876. Banked about $500 on it this morning. The aggressive one I banked out 300, didn't I? So I've banked 800 on it, and I've taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drawdowns, which have been 150 each. So I'm well up. So yeah, the trade actually was a profit all overall. So it's good. So yeah, now we're extended to the downside, going long. 4-hour RSI extension to the downside as well. So long back up into there. I'll be out way before that though. Pound CAD, there we go. Next we have pound US dollar. That is 1 hour. So the rest of these are all 1-hour extensions. So long on pound US dollar as well on the hourly. So nice hourly extension. We're pushing up nicely at the moment. This propulsion gap is really our only target to the upside at the moment on this one. As you can see, it's very much at the moment along. This US dollar is succumbing to the pound for a change. So, but we've just broken that low. So this is our first, if you look at the market structure on it, so going from here, we've got a low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We pushed down, made a higher low and higher high. This is the first lower low that we've got. Yeah, so market structure, longer term market structure has shifted now back down to that downside. Yeah, so we'd be looking potentially for now a push up and then a push down. So a lower high and then a lower low again. So when you're looking at this and you're long on something like this, you want to be looking at roughly where are we likely to go. That 38 is a shallow pullback. 50 somewhere around there I'd class as a medium pullback, and then a deep pullback would be 61.8, 71.9 sort of area. So those are the three things I would potentially, if we are going to shift structure back down to the downside, that's what I'd be looking at. Obviously, there is the other option where this is irrelevant and this is your pullback on your next leg up, in which case it doesn't matter, does it? So you never know which it's going to be there. If you knew that, you would just be in all the time and making money all the time, wouldn't you, if we knew which way market structure is going to go. But at the moment, it's a long. So hourly, drop down, M5 entry. So your M5 entry, initial M5 entry was there this morning, which was a break here. That's your second reverse alert this morning, which is there. So looking good. On its way at the minute into this propulsion gap. So we'll probably find some sellers here. Target's 47. So I'll be getting out. I won't be getting out until all the way up there. So roughly a 50% retracement. New Zealand dollar CAD. Oh yeah, so second position on that. Obviously, if this one fails, I'll be getting in somewhere around here on a second entry. New Zealand dollar CAD. Hourly RSI extended buying. So this is a slight downtrend. Again, we've starting to roll over on this. So this one we've been in a range for weeks, but we are still in the range really. If you look at it, I mean, this is a whacking great range. This whole area here, and it's kind of a 200 ADR roughly. What's ADR? 78. So range on this is 270. So it's actually more than that. So. But yeah, I mean, it's just a massive range at the moment. So you can see this high here. We came up, we retested that, dropped off a bit, pushed up a bit higher. Then we made another little range there, hovered around in that one. We're now pushing out the lows. This is the propulsion gap target I would expect us to head for down here. So that would be a really good buy if we get down there. So already in it at the moment, but if you got down to there, you could take a second entry. Got a gap fill to play as well on this one. In there, and we've got little propulsion gap up there as well. So yeah, nice looking little long at the moment. It is slightly counter trend at the moment based on the last week or so's price action, but again, New Zealand dollar CAD, get in it any direction you like at the moment. So New Zealand dollar CAD -1 range bound. We've got retail at the moment are ever so slightly long, so it's a bit of a short, but fundamentals are mixed, everything's sideways. So looks pretty good. I'm in long already on that one. And we've also got New Zealand dollar US dollar. That's the only other RSI extension long already in that one. M5 reversal alert this morning. So the first reversal alert was somewhere else. Don't know why I'm in that. Why am I in that? Oh, I'm in a sell. So yeah, I'm in a sell on this, not a long at the moment. So it's a buy as well. So I'm in short here at the minute on this one. So it's not quite extended enough for me to get in long because I'm getting on the 75s and 25s. So I'm in a short from there. Didn't get an exit there. Didn't get a second entry there. Wasn't far enough away. So I'm getting in one ADR apart. That was 61 pips. ADR on this is 66. So yeah, I'm just sitting in it sideways at the minute. In a range. It's not the best looking trade in the world, is it? What's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to close that manually, to be honest. 5 days sideways. We haven't gone anywhere. So I'm just closing that one out at break even. It's not moving far enough. If you look at how tight that channel is, and it is kind of rolling over, so it is going ever so slightly more bearish, but it's such a tight channel. You can see all the trades I've got in here, look. Yeah, loads of trades taken in both directions on it. But this one here, the one that I've just closed out from there to there, that's taken 5 days. And we haven't moved far enough in one direction to trigger a second entry. We haven't moved far enough to trigger a profit take either. So that's basically just stagnating. So I kind of want to be out of that at the moment and wait for the next big move. To me, at the moment, this looks long because we've got these propulsion gap targets to the upside. So what would happen is I would just basically sit in this now potentially for another 2 or 3 days, going nowhere. So it's pointless. I might as well wait, see if we can get another RSI extension up at those highs and getting short again up there. Or if we push back down, I mean, that's filled, really. We've got this little gap here as well. Question mark on that area. It's just not very clear. Nothing's very clear on this, so I might as well be flat. There we go. There's your RSIs. DAX has gone nowhere, so I'm still long. And we are still nowhere. This is a proper Mr. Wick this morning. We are going nowhere. Oh, hang on. Now we are. There we go. I think that's what you need to do. Put Mr. Wick in, and all of a sudden he moves. That might have been the news. What's the time? 8:39. No, that wasn't news. Just another wick going in. Right, let me catch up on chat. Morning, John. I'm trading the reversal indicator manually. If you get a shorter time frame alert, do you always have to make sure it is the same direction as the higher time frame, or just personal choice? Just personal choice. So all the market reversal alerts indicator does, whether you're using higher time frame bias or basically the higher time frame settings on the indicator. So if you turn on the higher time frame settings, yeah, obviously now you get these bigger boxes basically. There you go. So the other one's down there at the moment, the last green one, that's the last red one. So all that is doing is giving you another way to pick directional bias, but it's entirely up to you how you choose directional bias. Yeah, so you could use the bias scorecard, you can use retail sentiment, you can use the 4-hour moving averages, you can use the last reversal on the higher time frame. There is no right or wrong. It's basically, what do you want to use? Yeah. So the higher time frame directional bias settings in the indicator are from an original stop loss strategy that I used to trade with it, basically, which was you look for the last reversal alert on the 4-hour. Yeah. So there's your last 4-hour reversal alert. The best possible trade you can take is the pullback. So think about what happens with the reversal alert indicator. When a reversal alert holds and we get a nice M pattern reversal like that, yeah, so that's a beautiful market structure reversal. A high, a new low, pull back into that high to make a lower high, and then a push down to make a lower low. Yeah, so that would be perfect market structure. What happens on the higher time frame is when you get that initial reversal alert, what we're expecting is for price to pull back into there, yeah, and then push back down. So on the lower time frame, what we're looking for is, there's your, I'm going to draw the reversal. Actually, let's use the indicator to do it. It would be easier, wouldn't it? Whoops. Oop. Okay. So when you drop down onto the lower time frame, there's the 4-hour reversal alert. Yeah. So there's your high, low. So what we're looking for is a lower high to a lower low. Yeah. So the reversal alert, that's going to be your M pattern reversal. So what we're looking for now is, as we push up in here, what we're looking for is a reversal alert on the 15-minute time frame in line with the directional bias of the higher time frame, the last higher time frame reversal alert, which is why you have the arrows displayed, which mine don't seem to be for some reason. I don't use the I don't use this. I don't know where the there, higher time frame directional bias. Yeah, so it's bearish. Yeah, it's bearish because the last reversal alert was long. So that's basically the idea behind the higher time frame, seeing the higher time frame drawn on the lower time frame. It just gives you that indication of which way you should be going and what you're expecting. But what you'll often find, yeah, is that the last, here you go. So this is bullish. That's your last reversal alert on the 4-hour time frame, yeah? But we're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're 9 days beyond that, yeah? So what we were looking for here, right, on the higher time frame was a low, a high, yeah? A higher low, a higher high, yeah? Market structure, W pattern, reversal. So what you would be doing in this case is when you get that, yeah, you'd be looking for 15-minute reversal alerts in the direction that that was, trying to get in on the second leg of the W. Second, that's what this is all designed for, is to get you in on the second leg of the W. So that pullback could be any time in the next X number of days. But what we're expecting is when we get the reversal alert on the 4-hour, we're expecting it to pull back somewhere below where the reversal alert triggered and the very low of that. So anywhere in here will be where we would potentially put in our second leg peak formation low for the second leg push up in a W pattern or an M pattern. Yeah. Make sense? So that's what that is showing you. But it's designed to get you in somewhere around here, not here. Yeah. It's designed to try and show you how to get in on the second leg. Hope that makes sense. But that's if you want to use it in that way. You know, I mean, there's so many ways to use everything. Yeah. Which is why I kind of make everything flexible, because everybody wants to trade in a slightly different way. Ulam. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Have we not just done that? We've just done that. Dow. Dow, I will trade this afternoon, Sharon. There's no point in looking at the Dow now because it's the Frankfurt session. This is the Globex session for the US. So it's pushing up hard at the moment. I don't know where that's going to go. We'll look at that this afternoon. Morning, Freeman. Stefano, Aussie dollar Swiss. So Aussie dollar Swiss at the moment is just sitting around in the middle, sideways. Don't know. At the moment, there's no real directional bias on this. It's more, I'd be looking much more for longs than shorts. Yeah, there's no, that is tested, that yesterday's low. What's the retail sentiment? Let's look at the retail sentiment on this. Right, so retail is long at the moment. 92% of the retail market is long on the Aussie dollar Swiss. So all the liquidity is sitting right now under Friday's low. Yeah. So there's a massive pull here. Yeah, I would expect everybody that went long last week, so this is last week's low, everybody that went long last week is sitting long with liquidity under there. So the retail market at the moment is all long. So if they need to, they will push it back down to grab liquidity. Look at where ADR is. Yeah, average daily range low today is there. So if you get an ADR hit to the downside on that, I would long it. And then we're looking to come back up into propulsion up there. However, it could just go up there, couldn't it? And then it'll come back down at some point later. Yeah. Don't forget, just because retail are long does not mean they are going to be wrong. Yeah. It means retail are long. If the market wants to and needs to go in that direction, it will go in that direction. Just because there's money sitting here doesn't matter. If the market wants to go long and there's enough people willing to sell to it there, it will just go long. If, however, it starts running out of abilities to fill its orders there, it will fill its orders here or here. It goes to where the liquidity is. So at the moment, I wouldn't take that in any direction at all because the banks haven't moved it. So I've no idea whether this is going up or down today. You might as well flip a coin. Or if you wanted to, you could use something like a magic 8 ball. I don't know. It's going one way or the other. I do like John and his 8 ball. So yeah, Aussie dollar Swiss, don't know. Bartek, I remember a few weeks ago you showed us how to run multiple MT4s. Run multiple MT4s? Well, yeah, just install another MT4. Oh, you mean the... Oh, right, okay. So I have this folder on my drive called... you see that? MT4 installs, yeah. And there's basically all the MT4 installs that I've got on this machine at the moment. So those are my my Forex funds ones. These are my Robo Forex ones. That is my FXCM one. I've got my Axie account as well, which isn't doing anything at the minute. But so basically, these ones here basically are your MetaTrader 4s. If you want another one, you basically just copy that folder and paste it. There you go. It's easy. Then you've got another MT4. And then you just open that up and away you go. I think that's what you mean anyway. Or just download the installer file from your broker and just run another one. It would just install another MT4. BBMS, Bulls and Bears Market Secrets. And you've asked for gold as well. Look, there's a signal service in here that has a secret. And he's asked for gold. There we go, gold. Bulls and Bears Market Secrets. Love it. So that's a symmetrical triangle breakout to the downside. There we go. I was saying to short this all last week, and there we go. There's your break. Shorts. BBMS, go and watch this video on YouTube. I did a really good video on YouTube last week, yeah, and it's called Stop Buying Trading Courses. Neerav. Neerav's here. Worthless retail charts. Useless retail candlesticks. Do not use useless retail candlesticks. You will never make money using useless retail candlesticks. However, I will show you my useless retail candlesticks with numbers in them, and they will make you profitable. And he's advertising on a YouTube video that explains exactly why you shouldn't be buying what he's pumping, because it's exactly the same as everything else. How to prove a point live. Look at that. Anyway, in this video, well, there's me. There is a part in this video, I can't remember where it is, about mentioning, I can't remember, I'll have to put the chapters in on it. But there's a bit in that video about if you put the word secret on something, it sells more. So well done, BBMS, for your marketing. You are using that word, secret, which means you'll sell more stuff. Sorry, it's your first time in here, I know, but wrong channel if you're looking to pump stuff. EuroCAD, going to the downside. I'm looking to short. EuroCAD. Well, I'm long at the moment because we've got an RSI extension to the downside, looking to target that propulsion gap as a resistance bounce. So yeah, you could go short, but I'd wait for the gap fill and I'd wait to come back up into there. Wait for a reason to get short. There's no reason to get short at the moment on that. You're looking to short at 147.96. Yeah, 147.96 would be good. That's miles away. It's all the way up there. Look, ADR. That'll work, but not today. Do you think we might see a reversal on pound odd? A reversal in what? It's sideways. You can't reverse in a range. There's nothing to reverse. It's flat. Has been flat since Wednesday last week. Was your last extension on that, and Monday and Wednesday last week. So I'll be looking for long somewhere down there. That's filled. I don't know where this is going anywhere at all. It's just a sideways mess at the moment, that one. Odd news in the recent weeks are positive, so they go for long. If you look at the fundamentals on the Australian dollar, yeah, their interest rates are behind everybody apart from the euro and the Swiss franc. Their interest rates are going up at the slowest rate of everybody. Actually, that's not true now because others are starting to. But the reason these guys are dropping their interest rates to 0.25s now instead of 0.5s is because they've already got close to their terminal rates. These guys are nowhere near terminal rate, Australia. Their inflation is the second worst in the world, and it's going up. Their GDP is positive but dropping. Their unemployment rate is mediocre. So the Australian dollar is not strong in any way, shape, or form. It's way behind the curve. So I would be careful about saying things like Aussie news is positive. It's not positive at all. All the fundamentals are negative for the Aussie. And look at how the futures market is positioned. 64% of the futures market is positioned short on the Australian dollar. Towel, please, Brian. I know it wasn't just somebody asking for gold. It was someone selling signals asking for gold as well. He got it in both barrels. Morning, Baggy. Morning, Adam. Just made my day. And we had Nirav as well. What a great stream this is this morning. Nirav turns up on an advert telling you not to buy courses, prompted by someone who's in here selling signals, asking for gold. It's just comedy gold. You can't get better. You should do a montage of Lee destroying spammers, scammers. As if we just come in every day. Someone turns up every day. In a minute, I can guarantee you, within the next hour, Happy FX are going to turn up in here. Good old Happy FX. Right, let's have a look at the DAX quickly. So DAX ORB to the upside is on its way, which isn't going to be good for my Dow long, is it? On feed or crest. That will be going into nice big drawdown. Aussie dollar CAD. That's coming back into positive territory. So Aussie dollar CAD, I've decided to exit at that propulsion gap. This was my initial target up at yesterday's high, which is way beyond ADR. But I had to take another position on this one this morning. So I've decided to move target, and I'll just exit that lot down there. Who is Helpy FX? Happy FX. Oh, no, Helpy FX, sorry. Is Helpy FX? I can't remember their name. Yeah, Helpy FX. Go and look at their website. They sell Forex signals, and they come in the group and they spam. They've got bots which basically spam everywhere, trying to get you into their VIP room, where they make 27,526 pips net profit in 2019, although their website was only made in 2022. I'm not quite sure how they got that in there. I'm not quite sure how they had a worst year in 2020 when COVID came out, which was probably one of the most volatile years in the history of trading, where you couldn't help but make an absolute fortune. But they made a loss, or made less money. And then in 2021, when their website was built, they made 24,000 pips. And yeah, oh no, sorry, no, it's not 21. It was 22. Their website was built. I forgot we're in 23 now. Yeah, so yeah, they're doing really good. But it's only 95. I can't remember what it was. How much it was? $199 a year, or something, a month rather. And they've got signal accuracy up to 95%. 95%. So their signals are up to 95%, which is way better than any bank or institution in the history of trading has ever achieved. And even their free group has a better strike rate than any bank or institution has ever achieved. And they'll make you somewhere between 300 to 1,000 pips profit. So that's one trade in the ZAR, one 5-minute candle, basically, and pretty much they've done that. So. Sorry, I'm in a sarcastic mood. Super sarcastic mood this morning. So there's Helpy FX. Go join them. Don't do that. DAX PMI figures just released. Was that the PMI, was it? So that was your French PMI, was 47.3, so ever so slightly down. 44.7 on German, ever so slightly up. So mixed PMIs. Nothing particularly exciting there, is there? So yeah, we did get a little pump. So yeah, so when we were talking about news earlier, these ones that you see here on Financial Juice, when they mark them as red, they do have an impact, as you saw. So obviously we got a little pop on it, but you know what you get off of those ones compared to what you would get off of a red news on Forex Factory, you know, you'd be like off the bottom of the chart or off the top of the chart, wouldn't you? That's proper fundamental news. So they are impactive, but enough to get the thing moving though. So we just had a CAD Swiss RSI on the hourly. So there's your hourly RSI extension for a short. I'm already short on this one at the moment myself. So you could drop down M5, wait for the reversal alert. Just had it actually. So this is a retest basically at the minute. Big downside targets to aim for. So it looks like a good short. However, it's the Canadian dollar. And obviously if oil is going to continue to rally today, which it looks like it is, the Canadian dollar probably will rally as well. So probably going to get stopped out on that short on the oil. $84.73. I'm just going to reduce risk on it. There's no point in taking an additional risk on it. I'm just going to drop this down to 0.2% risk. That's either going to work or it's not. So I'm going to risk $200 or make 700 odd. But at the moment, it looks like it's rallying, doesn't it? So I will just reduce the risk on that one. Morning, World King. Up to 95% can mean zero. Exactly, PM. I can guarantee you with up to 100% accuracy that I will pass the Feudal Crest evaluation sometime this week. I can guarantee you with up to 100% that I will do that. I'm impressed so far about risk management done by the EA. Good. That's what it's there for. The EA finally hit Friday US session closed. Yeah, so there's your high from Friday. No. Oh, sorry, you close. Yeah, session close. So we're now yesterday's high. We're just testing Friday's high. limit order triggers going in. So this is where I would be very cautious. So we're on a 3-day run up with 2 gap fills to the downside on the DAX. Yeah, so there is a lot more downside target potential than there is upside on the DAX, especially after a 3-day run. So there is potential that we're not, this is the high from Friday, and we're not going to let that Friday high get invalidated, in which case then they're going to step in and they're going to drive it back down from here. So if you're long with the opening range breakout EA and you see a lot of selling starting to come in as we are here, I would just be a bit careful. We've got a lovely propulsion gap on that break. Yeah, so the market structure at the moment is long. Yeah, that is what I would love to see, and then take that high out and blow the high off and just go. However, if we now invalidate that completely and put a 3-bar reversal in here, I will close that position manually, because yesterday's high bounce is quite possibly all we're going to achieve today, with all of that downside momentum ahead of us. Don't forget, the market's been running up without a profit take for 3 days now on the DAX. Yeah, so we're on a 3-day run. You know, we do get, obviously, you know, it goes way beyond that a lot of the time. Yeah, we know that. It's not, I'm not saying it can't do it. It can do whatever it wants, but look how many 3-day pullbacks we get. Yeah, 3-day pullbacks. They're very, very common, the 3-day pullback. So especially when you're in a trend and you're in a nice, happy sort of move like that. So we've got this a little bit higher target, which is the previous month's high. That's March's high. So we've got this potential limit order trigger there, a limit order trigger there. And beyond that, obviously, if we pop out that high, we've got a chance of making a move like that. So it could go, definitely could go. However, just be a little bit cautious in this area. This is where you want to be starting to watch for signs of sellers starting to creep in, buyers running out of steam, and potential reversals. But we've bought that so far, so we'll see what happens. Big indecision candle though. No buyers or sellers in control there. How long have I been trading, Emmett? 15 years. 15 years in pretty much now, I would say. April. Yeah, probably about January, February, I would say, in 2008. In fact, it was in January, February 2008, because my first child was born in 2008. And this is when I started looking into trading as a second income, which was my initial plan, was to generate a second income through trading to pay for the inevitable £500,000 worth of childcare I would need over the next 18 years. Which is probably going to turn into being more like about £1 million. I don't know. What is the average childcare cost over a period of a child living at home? It's a lot, isn't it? I'm sure somebody's got a number on it. Okay, so putting back into that propulsion. So just watch this area here. I'm going to get ready to exit this. I'm happy to take a little bit of loss on it. Not a lot, but I would love this to collapse today, because that fiddle crest short on the Dow will then start to play out as well. So I'm 1.2% to target. Target is 5% on fiddle crest. So hopefully these will mature today. I should look at it. Actually, I don't want to take too much risk on. I've got a lot of risk on at the moment, so I'm going to leave that as is. Right, that's everything I've covered that I want to cover this morning. So a lot of those RSIs on the hourly have all unlit. Look, the only one we've got is Aussie New Zealand on the ADRs. still. We pushed out the highs on Aussie New Zealand, so still going on that one. So nice tight reverse alert when you get it. That will be. We looked at a level, didn't we, on Aussie New Zealand? Here. So this is the propulsion gap fill. Remember when we got that ADR alert at the beginning of the session, I said we're probably going to do this propulsion gap fill. That's now done. So that Aussie New Zealand is a good looking short. Actually, that's a good idea. I'm going to take that. On Fidelcrest. Half an ADR is 30. Perfect. So 135. Short. We'll put it underneath the low. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'm going to put it under ADR. So I'm going to get in short on Aussie New Zealand on the funded account as well. So I'll take a 15-minute reversal alert. 5-minute is going to be tighter. Actually, it's really nice wicks. I'm just going to go for the 5 up there. That'll do. Target half an ADR target on that is there. So all the 4-hour RSIs are still there. EuroCAD is still there. That's starting to play out. Pound CAD, again, still there. So these might not work, these ones with the Canadian dollar, because the Canadian dollar could well strengthen up today, in which case, obviously, this is going to come down. So if it does, I'll just scale in. Got a little wick there, and then this level here. So that's a big old drop. I should expect to be sort of on a move that's going to get me out of it by the time we get there. But we'll see. They might hold. They might not. CAD yen, again, extended to the upside. CAD's pushing. Still a good short opportunity. And Aussie CAD. That one still pushing up. That one's pretty much back to break even now. So pound New Zealand's the main issue that I've got at the moment. This has gone into a multi-day, as you can see, a multi-day sideways move. So I'm scaling out of it as we go, but we're now sitting from here pretty much, which is where we put that high in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, literally sideways. We pushed up. That's where we closed. That's where we are now. Yeah. So 9 days sideways. This thing I've been stuck in now for 9 days, not going anywhere, targeting this propulsion gap down here. Just waiting, basically. There's nothing you can do about it. And this is a really good example of getting stuck in a position trade. You can't do anything. If the market doesn't want to go up and down, the market will just keep you stuck in that trade. You just have to sit and wait. Jonathan, morning. I checked out Fidelcrest and they seem pretty good percentage-wise. Just failed a 50k funded trader. So we'll start at Fidelcrest 10k. Have they paid you out before? No, not me. I haven't been. I'm funded with. I got funded with them with Fidelcrest. So I'm just going to do this on another screen. I'm not quite sure what it shows you in the admin area. So I just want to make sure it's not going to show you all my information. Why is the login not working? Oh, God. One sec. I changed my password on it and I've realized I wasn't logged in into my Google account when I reset the password. So it hasn't stored my new password. Oh my God, that's a hideously horrible one. There we go. So basically, the way that Fidelcrest works, so that was my phase 1, which I did at the beginning of March, which I passed. Then you get phase 2, which is what they call verification. But with phase 2 verification, the targets are the same. So on a 10K to a 50K account, it's 5%. And that's the reason I like Fidelcrest, is their target is only 5% instead of 8% to 10%, which is what everybody else is. So this is their big selling point if you're on 50K accounts or lower. And the way to make it up is you just get lots of 50K accounts instead of 100, 150Ks. So really good profit target. It's a fixed daily drawdown, which is great. So I passed the verification, but I failed the verification stage, basically. I over-leveraged on it on a DAX trade and just blew it. So, but what this actually is, this is funded. So what they call professional, which is phase 3, phase 3 is actually, so it's really a phase 1 challenge. Phase 2, you get paid a small amount of money. Phase 3, you then get paid properly. So I failed that one, so I've got two others running at the moment. But that's the big plus with Fidelcrest is 5%. The negatives for Fidelcrest is you're not allowed to use EAs. So I have to trade manually. So I have to trade everything. That's why I've just put that order in on Fidelcrest with a pending, because I can't use an EA. So I've got to trade manually. So I've got to calculate my own lot sizes and stuff. It's like going back to the dark ages. But yeah, really good firm. I haven't been paid for them with them yet, though. So I've signed the contract because I've basically, when you get to this second phase, unlike all other prop firms, you don't get your contract until you pass phase 2, or you get that, go onto the funded account. With Fidelcrest, they send you the contract for phase 2 because obviously they're going to pay you. So you have to trade under contract on phase 2. So, and there's no minimum days either. So you can pass today, like today, right? For example, let's say I'm on 1.2%. So let's say this lot all works out and I bank 3.9% today. That's it, passed. I'm funded this afternoon. No minimum trading days. Yeah, good firm. But they've been going, Fidelcrest have been going for such a long time. They're certainly not some fly-by-night con prop firm. Yeah, you are going to get paid by them. There'll be a lot of people out there funded with them. I just don't know any because I've never really traded with them. So, okay, DAX. Oh, there's me waffling on. Okay, so close my DAX. I'm out. So on that ORB, I've just taken that much loss instead of the full loss. About a third of the loss. Just these limit orders triggering here. I suspect this might be a higher day bounce from Friday. And then we're going to come back down and start a downward run this week. So we'll see. I just don't want to hold it. I just need to cancel. There we go. I'm just cancelling pending orders off as well because I've got the EA will automatically replace that pending. So I don't want to get back in long. If it goes, it goes, and that's my fault for interfering with it. But the opening range breakout EA will automatically re-enter me on that. And I don't want to today. Too choppy and don't like where we are. Bartek, the only downside with Fidelcrest is it takes them a while to verify documents, unless it's just my case. You're still waiting. I don't know how long it took my verification. I can tell you. Beetle Crest. So, challenge phase passed. That was on Monday, the 6th of March. Verification account opened on the 7th of March. So the 6th of March at 5:22, I got the email saying I'd passed phase 1. I sent my credentials off straight away, the KYC documents. And 2:26 the next morning, I had the logins for phase 2. So that's just you, Bartek. I think with me, it took 9 hours, and I had everything done. So it looks like I would chase them. But yeah, I got from 1 to 2 in 9 hours. We can see, look, 1st of March. Oh, that's the same date, isn't it? That's interesting. Same date as that. But anyway. Right, so that's all I've got for you this morning. Short session this morning, isn't it? I haven't really got anything else to discuss today. Everything that I'm in at the moment, I'll tell you what I haven't discussed this morning, actually. Let me just have a look at this quickly before I go, unless anybody wants anything else to discuss anything else. The sentiment EA. Okay, look, this is the hedging EA, the H1 hedging set file. Look, we're sitting on 5.56 DD at the moment. We've banked 1.3% already today. So take 1.31 off of that, and that's your current drawdown if you were trading in prop. So that's banked very nicely this morning. The sentiment EA. So this is the day that I started running it properly. Yeah. And since that day, it's banked very, very nicely. So we did 3.7%, 3.6, 1.6. We've done 1.85 already this morning. We are just about to close another $1,000 as well in the next 4-hour candle, whenever the next 4-hour candle closes. Might as well switch it up now. In 1.5 hours-ish. So we're just about to close out another grandish, basically. So that got up to 2.8% today. But look at the drawdown. 12% drawdown. So the sentiment EA is doing pretty well. So we've got, what's that, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've basically got another percent there. So let's say 11% we're going to bank. We're sitting in 12. So I want to let this run and see what this does as drawdown, basically. But the problem with sentiment, obviously, is trying to find a way to get in without getting stuck in positions, which is what I'm finding the problem with at the minute. CAD Swiss. Let's have a quick look at that. So that was our first sell, so 95%. We scaled out of some there. These are way too close together. That's why. That's why. It's not scaling properly. Okay, well, there we go. There's the answer to that. It's a problem with the code. It's not a problem with the strategy. It's a problem with the code. These entries should be a distance apart, a certain distance apart. Is that not working? Sorry, bear with me a second. Minimum distance is percentage of ADR to add trades, 0.5. I have got that set. Right, I'm going to have to restart this test. I'm just going to have to recode this. Something's gone wrong with the distance spacing. What else have we got on? Let's have a quick look at what else we've got on. Just want to see if it's just that pair. We've got 2 positions on Euro Yen. Half an ADR. God, what's half an ADR on Euro Yen? 204. So it's 100 pips. $917. So when it took that trade, it probably was probably about right as a half an ADR. So that's okay. Those are Euro US dollar. They look a bit close as well. I think we've got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. 46 Euro US dollar. 92. No, that's about right. That's okay. So that 4.8%, that shouldn't be in 4.8% of drawdown. So that shouldn't be anywhere near that high. US dollar CAD. No, we got positions way too close. Right. Okay, that explains that then. So yeah, sentiment is looking actually pretty good. Except we've got some kind of glitch with some of the positions being taken too close together for some reason. So apart from that, if you take that 7% of drawdown off of that, then all right. So we'll see what happens with that one. But can you explain the sentiment EA? Right. So what the sentiment EA is doing, PM, is it's using the sentiment from the website. Yeah. So this is retail sentiment. And what it's doing is basically when we get retail sentiment more than, I think it's 75% in one direction. Yeah, 75. So when it's when retail sentiment is more than 75% in one direction, so there, for example, so Euro Yen, 75% of the market is shorting. When we've got that condition met, what the EA is doing is it is waiting for price to pierce yesterday's, previous days, last week's, and 4-hour highs and lows, and yesterday's. Yeah, so basically all it's doing is you've got filters in the EA to take trades at the 4-hour high or low, yesterday's high low, previous day's high low, last week's high low, etc., etc. So if, for example, on Euro Yen, let's do Euro Yen because that's the one I've just shown you. Yeah, so on the Euro Yen, you can see I've got 2 buys on it at the moment because 76% of the market at the moment are shorting Euro Yen. So we want to be buying it. Yeah, because the market's shorting it, which means that the liquidity is sitting at the high, and if they need it, they'll go up to the highs to get it. So what it does is it waits for price to pull back below the previous day's low, yeah, i.e., and take that liquidity. And then when it pushes back up again, we go into the market direction we're expecting it to go in, yeah? So that's basically all the EA is doing. It's very, 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 very simple. It's waiting for a run of liquidity, and then it goes off in the direction we're expecting to go find the next level of liquidity. So any kind of pullback against the direction we want price to go in, and then a push up, we get in long. Yeah, but it spaces trades in apart if they don't work out same day. It spaces trades apart half an ADR. Yeah, because obviously what I want to do is continuously get in if it moves against us, because it means that they're just letting those shorts work out. And then when they want to push it back in the other direction, I want to make sure that I've got a decent position, which is going to get me out fast. And then what it's doing is every 4-hour candle, it looks at the P&L and says, are we in profit in total on this? If yes, close. So it literally just continuously banks money against retail sentiment when we get a profit. Yeah, so it banked Swiss yen, it banked 179, CAD yen banked 244, New Zealand yen, it banked 290. Yeah, so it'll bank an amount of money. I'm not saying there's no targets, there's no stops, there's nothing. It's basically a case of we are expecting the market to go long because the retail crowd are short on it. So get into a position or 2 or 3 or as many positions as you need. Every 4 hours, every time the candle closes, check if that is a positive balance. If it's a positive balance, put it in there. Dump it in your pot. Everything else, we will do drawdown control on. So if things push against us too far, we will start to escape those positions. So what I've got this set up to do is I think I've got it set up on $1,000, which is basically 1%. Yeah, so drawdown control, when it gets to 1% in drawdown, so let's say we've gone long. Oh, you can see here, there's one on the screen. Look. There you go. No, that's not it. Haven't got one, but so this position here. So let's say, for example, that got into $1,000 or 1% in this case, because it's a 100K account in drawdown against it. It will close out 30% of that position. So it will continuously take, you can see here in the P&L, $298.50, $300. So it will continuously take $300 losses if sentiment doesn't work. All sentiment that does work, it will just bank it regardless. So we're just building up, we're just dumping a load of money in the pot. If something pushes too far against us, we'll just take a $300 loss every time. So overall, the idea being is the vast majority of the time, even if it goes against you, as long as retail are the opposite side of you, what it should do at some point is pull back. And as long as it doesn't move $1,000 against us, which is going to be at least one ADR in movement in the opposite, in the wrong direction, which is, you know, it's going to take quite a lot to do that. Then we'll start to close out some losses. So that's all it's doing. But it's in development at the moment. And I've had problems trying to get into it. There's been a few coding problems in it. So I'm just, it's a work in progress. You know, if it's like all this, so literally there, you got a grant. It's just about to put $2,800 in the bank today. But it's going to have to deal with all this. And this is unfortunately an error. So that wouldn't be that bad. Something's gone wrong there. And something's gone wrong there as well. I'm not quite sure what. So I've got to play with it this afternoon. But that's basically what it does. Pound yen, Ratib. Want to look at pound yen? Okay, that's good. Right, pound yen, I've just got out of a short. But I've got another short on. Why did it not get me out of that? That should have closed out both of those there. Sorry, someone said I'll have a look at the pound yen in a sec. Let me just find it. 6. Sorry, one sec. When was that closed? It was closed this morning down there somewhere, wasn't it? Which was somewhere around about 4 o'clock this morning. What's the date today? Sorry. 3rd. 4th. You've got logs going back that far. That's weird. I don't know why that should have closed that out. Doesn't matter. I'll just scale in again. But I'm not sure why that didn't close. 204. I'm not going to get into a second position till up there again now. Never mind. Don't matter. So yeah, pound yen. I was in short, and I'm out short of one of them. But yeah, right now it's bang in the middle of nowhere. So your entry was there, and obviously there. Yeah, so that's where I got in first entry, second entry. That should have been an exit on both positions for some reason. I don't know why that didn't. Exit the second. Which is confusing. But anyway, so yeah. At the moment, I wouldn't really be getting in any direction on that one. However, there's a lot more short targets on this than there is long targets at the moment. We've got this big propulsion gap all the way back down here again. But if you look at it on higher time frame, we still haven't, well, say, look at it on 4 hours, because you can't see that. So 4 hour. Whoops. We still haven't quite got back up to here. We did test that level there, but then we had this big move down here. So I think we're probably going to come back up into there potentially. But since that big drop, all we've done is go sideways into balance, and then we pushed up into a new balance, pushed down, back again into balance, pushed up, again into balance. Yeah, so don't know which way it's going from here at the moment, but 4 hour, it's a sell. Just had a reversal out on the 4 hour look, and we're retesting. So I like it as a short still, but there's also a potential, there's an argument for it going up to 125 ADR today as well, or in the next day or so. So back up into here. I don't know is the honest answer on that one, either or. But right now it's bang in the middle of nowhere, so it's not something I'm interested in taking at all. Where do you source the data from? Is it a specific broker? No, COT data comes from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Well, it comes from the CFTC, the Commodities Futures and Trading Commission in America. So the CFTC, if you go to any page on the website, if you go to COT, it'll explain where it all comes from. Yeah, the CFTC. So this website, the CFTC, is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, which is where all institutional trading needs to be registered, and every contract that enters the futures market is logged. So it's logged as to who it is, what they're classified as, whether they're a speculative trader, a commercial, a hedge fund, a bank, an institution, retail, whatever you are, you have to be registered and logged in the CFTC. So you can see every single order and which direction it's going. So if sensitive reason that if everybody that trades the market speculatively, which is the non-commercial element of futures market, if they're all going in one direction, it means they're speculating on a rise. So if we go in the direction they're going, the likelihood is it's going to go that way because their institutions push price in that direction. Retail comes from all the brokers that publish their data. So people like IG, they publish on a daily basis what the positioning is on all of their traders. So US dollar CAD, 61% of the US dollar CAD at the moment are long. So they publish all of this data. And there's a lot of brokers that do this. So people like Dukascopy, Darwin X. There's other places you can get it, like Forex Factory. They publish all of the Trade Explorer data, FXCM. There's loads of places that publish retail positioning. So this is an amalgamation on here on the retail sentiment or the combined sentiment of all of that positioning. So it shows you which way the markets are currently positioned. Yeah. And if you go to someone like IG, yeah, you will see published on the top of their website that with them, 76% of their traders lose money. So if 76% of people going long right now are wrong, what do you want to do? And it's the same on all brokers. Go to Axie. 82% of Axie's retail are wrong. Darwin X. If you pick any broker out there, they all have to by law. 64% of retail investors with Darwin X lose money. Now, the reason Darwin X is slightly lower than the rest is because they have these things called Darwins, which are signals. So a lot of people that trade with Darwin X are actually copying institutional signals who are paid by Darwin X to provide those signals. So those 64% are the guys that aren't bothering to follow the Darwin X signals because they're quite often right. So that's why theirs is lower than most brokers, because people that trade with Darwin X have got a brain. I trade with Darwin X. So yeah, so that's where that data comes from. Morning, Brian from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm through day 3 of the boot camp. You're changing the way I look at trading. That's good. That means you won't be one of those useless retail candlestick traders. I think that I can be successful now. Cool. I'm long in GJ. Will be until 165-ish. Sounds good. That's where I'll be getting in short. With retail sentiment, couldn't we use mean reversion on lower time frames, maybe M15 or M1? Yep, exactly what it's used for. Exactly. So if you look at retail sentiment on, I'm going to exclude the yen pairs. So euro odd, for example, 82% of the retail market are short on the euro odd right now. Yeah, so they're short right now. So anybody that's entering the market short right now is putting a stop loss there, 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 and if they're swinging from Thursday, there. Yeah. So if they need to go and gather some money, yeah, to fill a load of orders, and they can't sell basically because there's not enough people there wanting to buy it, they will have to go and find liquidity. They know there's liquidity pools sitting here. Not masses, but it's enough to fill their orders. So if the retail market are all going short right now, you've probably got half a chance if you hit the buy button. It could well continue down. Yeah, and that is where my EA will take a trade. Yeah. That is the previous day's low. So my EA takes trade at yesterday's low, which is there, previous day's low, last week's low, which in this case is there as well. So my EA basically will be sitting there right now waiting to hit the long button there, and it will hit the long button there on the euro odd. That's the wrong account. Euro odd. Yeah, so There you go, previous day's low there. And yesterday's low, which is there. Yeah, you can see it's got plus 18 there, which means that 18% of the market is long. So if 82% of the market is currently short, we want to be pressing the buy button. Got one order on here, which is a previous day's order from somewhere there. So if it pushes down to there and then pushes back up again, i.e. sweeps all that liquidity and takes it, we'll go off in the direction that is opposite to the retail market. Right. DAX pushing up again, back into that propulsion gap formed by that drop. So see if we get some sellers coming in now. We got propulsion move to the upside as well. So we're battling right now in these two zones. Not really going anywhere though, are we today? That's all I've got for you this morning. If you need anything else, I will be in the Telegram group. This afternoon, I'm going to trade the Dow, obviously, and we'll come back and have a look at how everything's going from positions on, and obviously have a look at ADRs, RSIs, etc. Keep your eyes on the ADRs today. News-wise, we've got no news until 3 o'clock. So this afternoon, I'm probably going to pause the opening range breakout EA and not actually let it take a trade for me this afternoon, because when we're coming into strong news half an hour after the market open, what we quite often find is the market just does that and goes into a little holding pattern before the news, and then the news will obviously move the market, which is obviously the 3 o'clock this afternoon. So 2:30 is when New York opens UK time. Half an hour later, we've got that news coming through. So just be a bit careful with the opening range breakout EA, or use maybe a reduced risk on it if you're going to use it this afternoon. But I'll be trading that this afternoon, and we'll see if we can get some moves out of the Dow. Apart from that, we've got OPEC meetings all day. So if you keep your eyes peeled on the financial juice feed, if there are any, there's a miss on the pound as well with the manufacturing PMIs this morning. If you, keep your eyes peeled here for anything that might come out of OPEC today. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Russia is not adhering to its production caps at the moment. We've had all that news about output reduction. Obviously, oil is a supply and demand driven product. So when OPEC says that we're going to have an output reduction, that means that there's less oil available, and the oil demand is the same. The price for the product will go up. Yeah, it's supply and demand. If everybody wants loads of oil and they make less of it, they can charge more for it. It's simple math, simple economics. So there is a output reduction coming in place. Russia is not adhering to the output reduction, but nobody wants to buy or can buy Russian oil at the moment. So the oil market is in a bit of a mess. So obviously that's driven up this morning. So it could be that out of this OPEC meeting, we get an opposite news event coming out, which will drive it back down again. And if that does happen, and this is why I've got a short on it at the moment on the Fiddlecrest account, just going to drag my entry up on Aussie and New Zealand. So if that is going to happen, we're looking for that gap fill on oil. And it could be just like a bang, 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 very, very quick. Oil is notorious for having these big, stupid moves it puts in where it just suddenly goes and it collapses. Yeah, we get these big, like 3-4 hour runs where it just flies. So obviously that is on the cards potentially. So it'll either work or it won't. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So there's more chance, I think, of it pumping today, oil, excuse the pun, but I think there's more chance of it rising. Because obviously that cap, if that cap is in that reduction cap is in place, then it's going to make oil more valuable. The forecasts from the market on oil are between 100 to 107 a barrel, or 95 to 107 a barrel. Yeah, so this is 95 up here. Yeah, we got miles to go, miles to go. I took an oil long last week, as those in here will know, and got out there, and I was looking for a pullback to get on a long and gapped. So my entry really, if I want to get in long now, I don't get in on extensions up there. Obviously, this is where I get in short. So I don't want to short oil. So I'm waiting for some kind of pullback to get in long. We might get a bounce here on oil. Might get a bounce up there. Likely will if we get up to an ADR. But just be careful with it. It's a tricky one, oil, at the moment. Right, so that's it for this morning. Anything else you need, let me know. I'll be in the Telegram group. I will be looking at the sentiment EA and figuring out what the hell's going on with that. It's broke. Yeah, I'll be back this afternoon at 20 past 2. We'll trade the New York session and hopefully get some money out the Dow this afternoon. All right, so have a good morning. If you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys this afternoon. Have a good one.